We are live. Welcome, everybody. Happy Monday. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let's see. Mic check, mic check. There we go. All right. Looks good. Okay, let's get started. As always, thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch the show. Before we get into Sebastian Rogers' case, we always like to get back by featuring the missing. So we're going to do that real quick, and then we got a lot of interesting stuff to go over in today's live show. So let me just pull this up here. There we go. Okay, so today's featured missing is Sophia Levi, just 15 years old, dark brown hair, hazel eyes, 4'10", 95 pounds. So she was wearing black hooded sweatshirt, red sweatpants, black tennis shoes, and Adidas backpack. This is in Sacramento, California. Last seen on 6100 block of McLaren Avenue on January 2nd. So she has been missing 11 days. I believe it's a potential runaway. I do have the other thing for it here. Here we go. Up in the notes, it's pretty much the same, just her height and details. But it does have the phone number, so if anybody's watching from that area, please be on the lookout for Sophia. If you do have any information, you can call this number here, 916-808-5471. Again, that is Sophia Levi, 15 years old. Trying to blow up the picture. It's not, fortunately, not the best picture, but at least it's something. But anyway, there is the information on Sophia Levi, prayers for the family, and her safe return. I know there's a lot going on in California right now, so hopefully that's not related. All right, let's get going. A lot to go over. It's been a very interesting day, that's for sure. Someone says, I like the intro. It warns me Chris is going to start. Right on. Okay, real quick, I'm just going to play the 1 minute recap I usually do, just so I can make sure the settings and everything's good and the chat speed and everything is working. So I'm going to quickly play this for a second, and then we'll get right into it. Got a lot to go over.
1008 Capricorn Commissioner. Caller advised this morning there was having a 15-year-old male talking to bed. We are right now 3 blonde hair, my bed, but we're going to turn down. I was going to be wearing a black sweatshirt, black sweatpants. You know, those have a bit of autism. It's the first time it happened. I'm going to be in the home before midnight. All the doors are locked at this time.
Sebastian Rogers is a 15-year-old autistic teenager who lives in Hendersonville, Tennessee. He was last seen Sunday night on February 25th by his mother, Katie Proudfoot. The next morning, on the 26th, his mother went to wake Rogers up and get him ready for school, but Rogers was nowhere to be seen. Sebastian Rogers was allegedly wearing a black sweatshirt, black sweatpants, his glasses, and his keychain flashlight. Okay, looks like it's running good. All right, we've got almost 800 people in here already. Again, welcome. If you are new to the channel, I am Chris with Monsters Under Our Bed. We cover true crime, mystery to the missing. Not only do we cover true crime, but during the summertime, we do actually go out and search for the missing. If we get some time, we'll kind of talk about a case that we'll be kind of helping with this year, and that's the Aiden Clune case, which we'll kind of talk about towards the end of the show. But this case I was involved in, and we actually found his shoes. It's a kid that went missing a couple of years ago, and he just kind of pulled on the set over on off the interstate and wandered into kind of a desolate mountain range, and was never seen since, and never found any trace of him. And then we went out there last year and we did a massive grid search. It took months and months, and towards the end, we actually found the first physical evidence ever, and that was his shoes. This is related to the Aiden Clune case. But anyway, so since we have found his shoes, unfortunately, since it was starting to turn into fall, and since it's kind of it's in Nevada, it's kind of higher elevation. It can snow and rain earlier in the year, towards the end of the year. So unfortunately, we wanted to get cadaver dogs out there, but due to the time of the year, they just couldn't. So once spring comes along this year, we're going to try to do like a fundraiser so we can get cadaver dogs out there around where we found the shoes. So anyway, we'll get more into that. Let me skip to... 50, what did I have? 53 or 58? 53 or 58. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. Wow. Already 1,000 people in here. Again, thank you so much to everybody. If you haven't already, please hit that like button. It helps support this channel. With these shows, I spend hours before preparing these shows. So, again, your support means the world to me. So, as you guys know, I've been trying to debunk Shill Fisher because he's been putting out a lot of misinformation, in my opinion. And then recently, this guy's, it's funny because here I am, a YouTuber, kind of a social media, I don't know if influencer would be the right term, but, obviously I'm out there in social media. But this guy is a alleged PI, but yet he uses Twitter like 1,000 times more than I do. And anyway, because of course I've been trying to debunk some of the stuff that he's put out, he is now, of course, gunning, I won't say gunning for me, but has been posting stuff related to my recent shows. And one of the things that obviously is about the lights and the garbage trucks and everything, and we've been going back and forth, of course. But like a man, I do admit when I'm wrong, and he did point out something that I did have wrong, partially. But this is very interesting. So, and he tagged us like 3 times, which, I mean, I get it like once, but like again, it's just so weird. Why is this guy posting all this stuff on Twitter? This guy's like a PI. Usually PIs are behind the scenes working. If they find stuff, they relate it over to the family and to law enforcement, but it's the complete opposite with him. So anyway, I digress. So he posted this. He played a clip, where I was using this the skyline here because the one where he shows the garbage truck, it looks like, like the sun's starting to come up. But here he did release a new screenshot from this video because, I've been screaming, he has hundreds of hours of footage in this neighborhood where Sebastian went missing. We're almost coming up on the anniversary. Why not release some of these, this footage, even if it's in like, 10, 20, 30-minute increments, maybe there's something you missed that the public could see. I mean, if you really want to find Sebastian. But, so anyway, here he released, and he tagged me, of course, a bunch of times. And here is a new screenshot from this camera. And if you don't know where it is, actually, let me get Google here so we can all kind of get on the same page. But yes, I did make a mistake. And as a man, I admit when I'm wrong. It's not hard to do. But it does give us some more clues, though. So, anyway, so here is the overhead of Sebastian's neighborhood. This is Sebastian's home. And the camera that he has got footage of is from, let me see here. Yep, one more up. From, which one home is it? want to say it's either this one or this one. I think it's this one, but either way. So you get the picture. It's off of Kellen Lane here, up towards the top. It's facing this way. I think it is this one here. Yeah, because I think it's kind of facing this right here, if I recall. Yeah, because there's a house. They painted the house on Google. I think it's red or a different color, but they painted it. Actually, I think it's this one here. Yeah, because it's got the. Anyway, I digress. So here we go. Remember, as I had mentioned, we had heard a long time ago that there was a Uber driver. There was two vehicles that night. One was an Uber driver, and then the one, which, in my opinion, from what I understand, we don't know. Even though, according to Fisher, he claims he knows both vehicles. But here he is. So he released this to show that, hey, there's the Uber, and he's got the timestamp circled down here, which shows 3:33 a.m. on the February 26th, the morning that he went missing. And so what we see here, so we're going to kind of break down what we see here, because I really had to study this. And at first, of course, with who he's working with, I had to kind of question it, did he tamper with the timestamp? And did he just make it look like it was 3 o'clock in the morning when it's really, more later? Because from what I heard, it was around 5 a.m. Again, I've never said a specific time like, I said I've heard that it was around 5 or 5:30. But here he shows that it's actually 3:30. So, yeah, I admit I was wrong. I heard 5:30, and that's what I've related. I never said this exact time because, that was just kind of what they believed. So again, I was off of a couple hours, but again, there was an Uber driver. So what we see here is we see a guy in his shorts. I'm assuming it's a guy. It could be a female. Looks like they're walking towards the camera. Now we have a vehicle in the driveway. Clearly it's backed in. We can see that the trunk is open. Now, I think a lot of people would first probably point out, why is this guy or this person wearing shorts, because it's probably pretty cold out. It's February. I'm assuming this is the Uber driver. I could be wrong on that. Because then if it's just the Uber driver, it makes sense. That person's in the car, so, where it's warm. So that's why I kind of think maybe this could be the Uber driver, and maybe they opened up their trunk because from what we understand is this person was going to the airport. So again, I'm just kind of speculating off what I've heard. So really this all just kind of, corroborates what we heard. It's just the time was off a little bit. But again, I was wrong. I heard 5:30, but here it is, 3 o'clock or 3:30, excuse me. But from what I understand, that does look like, and let me know if you notice something. I'm going to zoom in here, but again, I'm assuming, because you can kind of see the car door open as well. Let me back that up real quick. That's why I think this is the driver, because as you zoom in, you can kind of see the driver's side door open, right? So I think maybe this Uber driver, if this is the Uber driver, he's just getting, the trunk open, and if this is a person going to an airport, I'm assuming they're putting their luggage in the trunk, and he's just getting it ready for the homeowner. So very interesting. Now the second thing is, so of course, I had to check and make sure this was legit, so I looked at the timestamp, and here, let me move this over just a little bit. Debbie says could be the one going to the airport. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just speculating, either way, but it looks like it could be the Uber driver. Now here's the timestamp, which shows 3:33, which I think is, like I said, the first thing I wanted to check. because what he's pointing out is not only the Uber driver, but the Skyline. And I'll explain why here in a minute. But I did look at the timestamp, and here's me doing a overlay with the original timestamp at the 509. And as you can see, it's the same exact digits. It would be really hard to edit out the original timestamp and then put a new one on. You would see flaws. I mean, not to say you couldn't do it, but so I do think this is all legit. So again, as a man, I admit when I make a mistake. Yeah, I was off a couple hours on that, but it's the fact that it's showing what this camera is capable of. So again, I harped on the Skyline and how it was really bright and it looked like it was the sun was starting to come up, but yet when he shows the 3 o'clock, and I'll show a side-by-side here in just a minute, that the skybox is pretty much the same. So this camera has night vision, nighttime mode. It's not night vision, it's nighttime mode, which is a really nice camera. Really nice camera, right? And this is very important. So again, I do appreciate that he put this out, because now this gives us a better idea on something else. But here, I'm going to show the 2 skyboxes here, I think. Yeah. So the one up top is 5 a.m. and the one down below is at 3. So that just goes to show you how well this camera is, and can see literally at 3 a.m. when it's, pitch black, if it wasn't nighttime mode camera. So now knowing what that camera is capable of. So again, I am wrong when it comes to the Skyline. This is due to the camera's capabilities. So again, as a man, I admit I'm wrong on that. But when it comes to the other stuff he claims, in my honest opinion, he's completely wrong. But again, this is very interesting, because now we kind of know that there was an Uber driver at 3:30. It's now confirmed, right? But now we know, again, the capability of this camera. So this is, again, where the camera is at. I forgot to put this up here. I'll read chat for a second here. Someone just posted it there. Where was it? Respect. Again, yeah. I mean, I'm not perfect. I make mistakes all the time. I've said that said that all the time. And I have no problem admitting when I'm wrong. Again, like the Uber driver. Again, I heard 5 to 5:30, and that's what I've always relayed. I've never said I know for a fact it was 5 to 5:30. I just know that there was 2 vehicles. So it really just confirms what we've kind of known, but the time frame was a little off. Now I would say this is a little bit bigger deal with the camera, but in my opinion, even though I'm wrong on the Skyline, I am still actually, I think this is huge, because this camera, the fact that we can see during the darkest hours, we could see clearly across the street, because this is a very nice camera. So you would think, now this is where it's a double, I'm glad he posted this, because now we know how nice in the nighttime mode of this camera, that clearly if Sebastian went up killing we would have clearly had seen him walking up the road, right? With this, because we've seen what this camera can do at 3 a.m. It's basically the same, the same kind of color contrast and everything. So, I mean, there would be no mistake if he came up killing, we would see him, right? So now we just kind of, we're just adding more little tidbits and clues, and God bless him for releasing that. Again, I don't know why he can't just release more footage. Who knows? Maybe we could all come together. That would be great, right? Shanna becoming a member. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll try to get to chat here in just a minute. But now let's start putting these pieces together. So remember the whole dogs tracking Sebastian up to this construction site. Remember that was something that, this Fisher guy was, bringing up again. Yet if he went up killing, well, we should see little Sebastian walking right up, right? Now we know there's a camera right across from the home. Now it doesn't, it's a Ring camera, definitely not the same quality as the camera that is up here, but there's still a camera, and there are lights in front of the home. And so, as I said before, there's definitely a possibility he could have maybe gotten by those lights. I highly doubt it, but there's still the possibility. But I'm pretty sure if he came out, this is the camera that's facing the home from the front. We have the front door here, we have the garage door, and the door on the side. Again, especially if he came out the garage or one of those, I'm sure he would have disturbed, these lights. And then if he went right, I'd say there's a little bit more possibility that he could have probably gotten through undetected. I'd really have to see the footage, without a garbage truck blocking the view. Because I think Mom said that there's some landscape lights. So if there was like some landscape lights like sitting right here, especially if it's, I guess it depends on if it's on the left side or the right side of the front door. But if it was on the right side, if he was coming out and going right, he would obviously kind of disturb the lights going to the right. So there, we can kind of cross off that he didn't go up killing, at least down the road. And then I would say probably 80% chance there's no way he came out the front, came out Stafford, at least through the front door. And then we have the other camera. Now, of course, there are more cameras. But then what are the odds that the one camera since day one is the one that did capture something? Do you think that is a coincidence? Yeah, I thought about that too, Marie. Yeah, you would kind of think, I guess it just kind of depends, on the weather and when the search started and, if the dew was gone. But yeah, I did think about that. It's a not a bad theory. Yeah, exactly. There's tons of cameras, and he's got hundreds of hours. Yet, so far, we've got an Uber driver again. It's something, but again, why not release footage? So, I want to break this down again. I only break this down because, again, with knowing that he's likely working with the Proudfoot, and it's almost like he's an extension of them. And here is his breakdown of the lights. Now, I find this very interesting. This is his report, and of course, I had to go over it because I found huge discrepancies. And so let me go ahead and read this. This neighbor confirmed they took their trash can to the curb. Wait, is this at the beginning? I might pull up. Did I miss one? Oh, yeah. And then don't forget about the car that's captured. Okay, sorry. That goes a little bit faster than I anticipated it would. Okay. The neighbor confirmed they took the trash can to the curb shortly after 5 a.m. As for determining the day and time of the lights video, given that the timestamp of the video is broken, which I agree, the video owner explained how they pinpointed the approximate time. According to the owner, shortly after the public portion of the video ends, the trash truck appears in the frame. How convenient. So he's saying that these videos, all these live videos, remember there's multiple of them. He says conveniently that the trash truck now appears after these videos. And he says the trash is collected on Mondays. We know the trash truck was in front of the Proudfoot home at 5:12. That's right. Making it reasonable to conclude the lights video was recorded between 5:10 and 5:12. But here's the issue. I'd have to do the full tally to actually, there's over 2 minutes of footage. So, not even that is right. And I'll even show you guys. There's over 2 minutes of footage. There's a minute 30 video. There's, I think, a 30-second video, and then the one with the car, I can't tell if it's being paused, so I don't know if you can take that in full consideration. There's at least over 2 minutes worth of footage. So again, wrong. The individual taking their trash can to the curb while using. So this individual, while taking their trash can to the curb, was using a flashlight. Did so just before the trash truck arrived. So he's saying this lights video is a guy with a flashlight, and he's hauling his trash can out to the curb just before the trash guy comes, right? He also says, additionally, the placement of the trash can be taken down to the elevated driveway. And I'll tell you, there's only one driveway that he could be talking about. And I'll show you guys here. And he says, because it's an elevated driveway and how the lights are moving, that's what's going on. While recreations are never 100% conclusive, this analysis combined with intelligence from interviews and recreation leads us to strongly believe that the lights video unfortunately does not depict Sebastian, though we desperately hope it did. Now, trust me, I am going to destroy this, just completely tear this apart. I promise you guys. Promise you. Instead, it appears to show the homeowner on Stafford Court taking their trash barrel to the curb while using a flashlight. I've attached a screenshot of the broken timestamp from the lights video, blah, 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 and released a lights analysis report. Now, this is where it gets very interesting. On November 21st, we produced an 8-page analysis of the lights video. This analysis utilized pixel measurements throughout the video. He did AI. This allowed us, now this is the big part, okay? Let's read this together. This allowed us to establish whether 2 different sets of lights were mounted on a vehicle, maintaining consistent separation regardless of movement on the screen, or if the distances varied laterally or vertically. We also measured the color temperature of each light and analyzed other critical factors. So what did his analysis conclude? And this is where, again, it's like, did you actually... Okay, let me get to it and then Our analysis concluded that of the two lights drawing the most attention in the video, one was a fixed mounted light. Okay. While the other was likely a flashlight being moved around the area. I have attached a copy of the analysis report to the reference. So again, he says, of the two lights drawing the most attention, one was a fixed mounted light, and the other was a flashlight being moved around the area. So then he puts out this report. While we cannot share all investigative details, I can disclose blah, 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 blah. We learned from a direct interview that the neighbor on Stafford Court took the trash can to the curb just minutes before the trash truck arrived. This individual used a flashlight while moving the trash can from the storage location at the top of an elevated driveway. Okay, so let's look at this. God, I hope my chat didn't freeze. There we go. I believe you, Chris. That's funny. But no, let's look at his report. So he says one's a mounted light and the other one's a flashlight, right? Oops. Oh, I'm not playing. But yet in his report, he says light source 1 is walking. Light source 2 has height fluctuations, dynamic behavior. And basically it says evidence of walking. Light source 1 and light source 2. So in his report, he literally says he acknowledges both light sources and that they're moving. And he believes that they are human. Yet in his analysis, in his conclusion, he says... Oh, wait, let me... I should have expanded this out. I didn't realize. This is the only thing when you do pre-videos. I feel like I give myself enough time, but... Okay, oh God, there it is. Perfect. Light source 2, the flashlight of the height, is consistent, basically suggesting a person is holding or is walking. So basically, in his analysis, he says both light sources, remember two light sources, are moving, right? With flashlight. He acknowledges both light source 1 and 2. Yet, in his conclusion, our analysis concluded that of the two lights drawing the most attention, one was a fixed mounted light, while the other was likely a flashlight being moved around the area. Well, what about the other light? Right? He's only mentioning one light. He mentions two light sources down here, and that it's like two people with flashlights, which I 100% agree with this. Yet he says in his concluded analysis that, and I'm assuming the fixed mounted light, I'm assuming he's talking about the floodlights, right? But he says this, one of the lights is a guy taking out his trash with a flashlight. But what he fails to mention is, what about the other flashlight, right? Is this the wife? You know, like just making sure the coast is cleared to take out the trash, you know? Because remember, there's two lights moving, but he only addresses that there's only one person taking out the trash, and he's interviewed him. So let's back this up, and I'll show you guys where he's talking about. It is pathetic. It is really pathetic. So this is the driveway. This is the only one that he could be talking about, right? This is almost right across the street from the Proudfoots, just a house down, but on the left, opposite side, right? So where the actual floodlights are to the right. So just to kind of give you a point of reference, we go back down to the home with the security camera. As you can see, it can't be this home here. Couldn't be any of these homes over here because obviously the light's moving left to right. So it's none of these homes here. So he says it's up here, and it's a guy walking his garbage can down here. But there's also something else that he completely forgot to mention in his report. Something very big. I mean, it's pretty blatantly obvious. Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder can see this. Right. So the fixed lights, of course, I've debunked the hell out of this. So here's our guy taking out our trash can, right? Remember, here's our trash, Oh, yep, taking out my trash can. Then we go to video number 2. Let's see, which one's this one? This is video 1. This is just a repeat of video 1 real quick here. So remember, that's subject 1, because remember, I figured out why there was subject 1 and subject 2. So that's subject 1. Now I'm going to overlay video 2. I know it's going to be a little bit harder to see, and I didn't spend a lot of time because I had a lot to do. So subject 1 is still in the frame, and then subject 2 is going to be coming along. So what is this? Is this like the wife maybe just making sure the coast is clear for the husband to, okay, honey, it's safe to put out the trash can, or, what's going on? And then, and again, I apologize if you're on your phone. I was trying to overlay it pretty close to the other one. And where did subject 2 go? Like, again, it doesn't make sense. And then subject 2 is going to be coming along. So subject 1 kind of disappears. Then subject 2 comes along. Remember, think about how long these videos are. Then we have video number 3 in order. So now here's subject 1, right here. Oh, what's that? Well, that appears to be somebody on Stafford Court with a car turning on their lights. And we can see subject 1. Oh, let me move this over just a little bit. There we go. And I know, and I'll zoom in here in just a minute, but that little light right there is still one of the subjects. I believe subject 1. Subject 2 has already gone by. So if this is the guy with the garbage can, I don't know how this would not grab your attention when you're in a neighborhood that has no street lights or anything like that. And then all of a sudden, 50 feet away or less, you have a car turn on its lights. I would think that would stick right out. And I'm sorry, it's kind of slow motion. But clearly, a car turning on its lights, we know this from multiple sources. The reason why I've showed this right here is because when the car actually turned on its lights, it actually lights up the back of this truck. So that also gives you kind of where the position of this car is. And as you can see right here, this little dot, and I'll kind of zoom in here in a minute, that is one of the subjects. So if this is a guy taking out his trash, don't you think he would have been like, oh, whoa, like, yeah, I saw this suspicious car. Then the other issue, let's give it a second here. But as you can see, subject 1. Now, here is the biggest, again, of course, I've debunked him so many times about the angle of the camera. There's even people on Facebook groups now trying to like act like they have messaged like people that know the owner. People have emailed this. It's so disgusting, and saying like which way the camera was pointed, and there's just no logic behind it. So I thought, because I think they just do this on purpose to waste my time. So this is what he's saying, basically, that this is where the guy's taking out his garbage, right? Well, there's 2 issues already. One, even though this does line up, here's the biggest issue right away. Do you see how the floodlights are angled like this? Do you see? And then I know it's kind of hard to see, but do you see how they're kind of not straight, right? They're not straight, they're angled, right? Do you know why? And I pointed this out a million times. It's because you've got to tilt the camera. So this whole, even though this would look good, you actually need to turn the camera. I don't know how many degrees. I guess I should probably check that out. But you actually have to tilt the camera to actually line it up right side, right? Because we're looking at this kind of like this, right? So when you then turn it the correct way, the person's not really going down a grade. So again, they're just, they're half-assing shit and trying to, just think you guys are, some of these people are gullible, and it's just disgusting. So let me just show you one more thing, since I thought, even though I've shown so many different ways to debunk this, remember, okay, so he says that this is where the guy's taking his trash can out, right? Now, we know where the car is at. The car is on Stafford, right? We know that. You cannot debunk that this car is on Stafford. And I use this as like where where the headlights would be facing, right? Even though it'd be further back. And then this arrow, this line would be kind of like the direction the camera is kind of looking towards, right? So according to him, the lights would be on the left side of the vehicle, right? If we were looking from the view of the camera, because obviously I can only take static views from Google, right? But, and hopefully that makes sense. I know that might have been a little confusing. Some might get that. Man, I should have spread this out a little bit more. But you guys get the idea. He's basically saying that this is on the left side of the street of Stafford, right? Well, here's another way to debunk this. Okay, so we have the car, right? We have the subject. We know this is the subject. You cannot, there's no debunking this. This is where they go, they stop once it's there. So let me just draw it out for them. Here is the driveway, more or less. Here's the driveway. Again, and I'm not trying to be rude. These are for, this is really just for Fisher here. Because He knows this. That's the thing that's just disgusting is he knows this. What does that mean? If this is the driveway, what's next to the driveway? Let me know in chat. You guys are smart. What is next to the driveway? What are we looking at? Right next to what is on the other side of this truck that is sitting in the driveway? There's a road right here. It is Stafford Road. Stafford Road right here, right? There's the car. I kind of put the wheels because that's the lights. Okay. Look at where the light is at. There's the light. Here's the road. There's our alleged garbage man, taking out his trash can. But yet, wait a minute. He is on the right side of Stafford Road. How can that be? He's over here. Yet Shield Fisher is trying to fool you into thinking that he's on the left side of Stafford Road because Stafford Road kind of curves around, and this driveway that he's talking about would be on the left side. How in the hell? Explain the physics behind that. Again, I know I've debunked did so many different ways, and it really gets old, and it just makes me mad because he's just taking advantage of, I think, people's or insulting people's intelligence, really. But look, this light is almost behind this car. It is. It is. It is basically behind this car right now. From where the tail light is. And this is Stafford Road that eventually curves over. How in the hell is this light supposed to be on the other side of the road? Again. But as a man, I made a mistake. He was right on the camera thing. It was the Uber drivers at 3:30, which is great. Now we have that down. And now we know that camera is an amazing camera with an amazing nighttime mode that now kind of lets us really further deduce the areas that Sebastian could have went, right? So let me get to chat. I'm just going to kind of let this play for a second so you guys can see this again. But yeah, let me know if you feel differently. But this camera is clearly, for it to be 3 o'clock in the morning, and that's what we can see. We could see almost like the license plate and the car across the street at 3 a.m. Let me pause it right there. Sorry, guys. I should have spread this out so I wasn't fiddling with it so much. Right there. Let me know if you guys noticed anything else. Let me get to chat for a second here. NJ's gifting a Mob Crew membership. Thank you so much. God bless you. Lakeside Lawyer, becoming a member, supporting this channel. Thank you so much. Josh the Posh coming in with a $5 super sticker. LE. Oh, thank you. God, you just reminded me. Oh my God. Yeah, let me write this down. So I'm not done yet. Oh, thank you, Josh. God bless you. Law enforcement, other podcasters, and some creatures called humans make mistakes too. Oh yeah, yep. Again, and if I make a mistake, I have no issue saying, yeah, I was wrong on that. And yeah, Uber driver, I was off an hour or two, or hour and a half. But the nighttime mode thing, definitely I was wrong. Appreciate your work and help with the victims find justice. Thanks so much, Josh. Jenny says you do great work and your heart is always in the right place. Kiddo, thank you so much. God bless you. Casey says, why would someone be wearing shorts? Yeah, that's why I think it's the Uber driver. and he's just kind of getting the car ready. That's because you can see the car door open right here, the driver's side door. That's why I'm like 90%, I'd say 80, that this is probably the Uber driver, and he's probably just getting the car ready for the homeowner who from again just from what we heard is this person is going to the airport, so that makes sense. He's probably getting the trunk ready so this guy could put luggage in the back. And it's pretty much what it just corroborates what we heard, just the time was off a little bit. Joe South says, we usually put our bins out in the front of the house via the driveway. I can't imagine why anyone would go through the backyards. Yeah, there's nobody going through the backyards. But yeah, I agree. And thank you so much, South Oz. And Lisa becoming a member. Thank you so much. And I do have PayPal, Venmo. It's something I don't mention a lot. But if you do by chance send something, if you could let my mods know so I can thank you, because sometimes I don't get. Oh, okay. Someone's telling me to look at my email. Oh, before I check the email though, thank you, D. So let me tell you how stupid this sounds, right? If this was truly legit about Fisher finding out that this whole lights thing was all due to a guy taking out his trash, right? And you're telling me local law enforcement, state law enforcement, FBI, TBI, and other entities could not figure out. You're telling me not within the first 24, 48 hours that they interviewed everybody, that they didn't go back and say, hey, do you know anything about the flashlights? You don't think that they would have found out that there was a guy walking his trash can to the driveway, and this whole lights video would have been dragged on for almost a year now if that was all it was somebody taking his trash can out with a flashlight, and they couldn't figure that out? All 4 agencies and more entities? Are you kidding me? Come on. It just upsets me. And so that should just show you though how much they're trying to trick you. Like, why? Why is the question, right? Why do they want to get you away from this footage? Here, it's simple answer. It's a guy putting his trash out. First it was a garbage truck up on Honeysickle. Then he said it was garbage truck coming by between 5:10 and 5:12. Now he says coincidentally it shows up just after the footage ends. How convenient is that? You would think if that's true, don't you think we would see like some flashing lights? I mean, this is a like a Christmas tree driving around, right? With all the lights. You would think we would start to see like some kind of distortion in this video, at least the last video, if it was literally seconds before this video ends, the trash can comes, or trash truck, right? Okay, let me play the time frame for a second here.
She's to the landfill was only gone for about
Let's see, hold on.
what it is.
One second, guys.
what those are. Does Sebastian know?
Mom
Okay.
comes out. It could have even been 6:30. It was sometime in that window. Mom comes out.
I'm just checking my email real quick, guys. I'm just going to let this play for a second.
She sees neighbors. There's multiple neighbors outside at that point, and she starts saying, I can't find Sebastian anywhere. I can't find him anywhere. Now, I don't think she's much sad.
She knows now. That she's coming.
And low for her son. Then she got into her vehicle.
Florida, long before the true crime
over,
stuff.
I think what was the school potentially. That's what it's believed anyway. She was only gone for about maybe, let's say, 10 minutes at most, maybe 5 to 10 minutes at most. Came back, and from there, it's odd to me.
What is this? Okay, sorry.
Logical dad, Seth Rogers. He gets a message from, I think it was Katie, at about 7:20.
I did get that.
911, can't find Sebastian, something like that. I'm pretty sure Chris, so the stepdad of Sebastian, he ends up coming back into town. Again, he was in Memphis working on this project. He comes back in at, I think, of around 1 p.m. All right.
Oh, and then on top of that, just to add on, maybe I'll pull up the Twitter, I guess, is you guys know me, and let me know if I'm wrong in chat. Have I always just alleged that this was an abduction, and I always mention it could be likely an inside job or an outside job, but I've always talked about abduction, possible abduction. Yet this Shill Fisher literally had the nerve to mention in one of his recent posts that I claimed that, I believe that the Stink Feet murdered Sebastian. I may have talked about murder, like, just kind of entertaining different theories, maybe once or twice in the 200 plus lives I've done on Sebastian, but 99% of the time, I've always only mentioned talking about abduction. I have never talked about murder or anything like that. And for him to put that out, it just shows, like, just scum. You're scum. Again, I'm really trying to be nice and not yell or scream, because this, and maybe someone needs to remind Fisher that, when it comes to these kind of cases, when a child goes missing under suspicious circumstances, the way you go about it is you look at the parents first. You go closest to the, family first, closest to the victim, and then you work your way out. You don't go to the neighbor and the neighbor's dog and then go wherever you want from there. No, you work at the most likely, because that is the most statistically, when it comes to domestic stuff like this, is the parents are, the first to look at. And then you work your way to the extended family, friends. Then you might go to people around you. But again, you don't start with the neighbor and mention something about seeing their son sometime in the middle of the night laying in wait, and you don't have any evidence to back that up, claiming that you see footage of this, and you can't even put out a clip showing that. Just shows you what they're trying to do, and it is so disgusting. And again, this is an alleged PI. He should know, if he wasn't a PI, that is how it works. You don't go outside in, you go inside out. And if you can't get past the parents, you don't go any further in that until you have cleared them completely. But you got stink feet running from a polygraph. Seth had no issue taking a polygraph. Although, again, polygraph is, you can't take that 100%. They're not used in court, but at least, kind of gauges where, kind of people stand. But again, it's just common knowledge when it comes to true crime and these kind of things. But, I guess it's a sin to look at the parents. And again, at the end of the day, let's say if I came across footage and it showed Seth, I guarantee you on my mother's grave, I would send that in a heartbeat. I could care less who is behind his abduction. All I want to do is find Sebastian. It does not matter to me who is responsible. Of course, it matters to me for them to be caught and be held accountable at the fullest extent. But at the end of the day, it does not, I don't care. Give me a Bible. I could care less who's behind it. But again, you start in at the parents. And if you can't get past the parents, you don't go any further than that unless you're looking for connections. But again, that is how it works. All right. Let's see. What time is it? Let's see. 5 o'clock. Yeah, I've heard different numbers of them paying. I don't know what he's getting paid. I've heard up to the thousands. Who knows? I don't want to speculate, but yeah, I mean, again, and here's just one more thing, and then we'll move on. Because again, I'm putting out so many videos with this. It's just ridiculous. I mean, I don't. It just makes my head hurt. Anyway, one last thing, just for the argument on this. Okay, two things actually with this. See if I can find the interview. Interview. Oh, is that it? Okay. Let me just play this clip. I'm just going to play the short clip, and I promise you, I'll make this point. I promise you, it'll be a good point.
The video you're about to see is from early Monday morning, February 26th, around 3:10 a.m. Now, there are no street lights in the Stafford Court neighborhood, so it is at night, pitch black. What you will see here are these 2 points of light believed to be people with flashlights in the area around Sebastian Rogers' Hendersonville home.
And of course, he even goes on to say that they're going on around his backyard. Now, do you think a reporter would make a statement as big as that without doing his proper research? Do you think he got where he got by just putting, just whatever he said, whatever he want, wherever he thinks this camera's pointed? Absolutely not. He could be sued for, I don't know if he could be sued, but, obviously that would be bad. I was going to say publicity, but journalism is what I was trying to say. Obviously, where he got the source is because he went to the homeowner. And I've said this time and time again, and they know where their cameras are pointed and said, yes, the camera's pointed back towards this. This is where the lights would be moving. We've known that for a long time. And it gets old having to say this. And then I saw on Facebook, someone's trying to act like they're speaking to somebody out here and that they're trying to say where the camera's pointed. And it's so stupid. And then on top of that, one more point, and then we'll move on here. Oh, I know I put it in here. Here, where are you? No. I swear I put it in here. This one? No. Oh, come on. I just had it. Oh, there it is. I knew I had it. So remember, Shill Fisher put out this, saying, oh, here's a field of view. And again, this guy clearly needs to go take geometry because, he wasn't paying attention in school. It's pretty basic, 360 degrees. If you spread your arms out, that's 180 more or less. If you do this and you do a quarter, that's 90 degrees. Noon to 3, 90 degrees. Noon to 6, 180 degrees. Noon to noon, 360. It's pretty basic stuff, right? But he tries to put out this field of view. I've gone over it again, but when you actually measure that, he only showed you 50% of the field of view when these cameras have 75 to 90 degree field of view. So he literally skipped out on about 15 more percent. Oh, excuse me, 25? If I could do, even though math was probably my best subject. 25 degrees off. It's pathetic. It truly is pathetic. All right, I digress. Moving on. Again, let me remind you, 4 agencies, local, state, TBI, FBI. Do you really think they overlooked a guy walking his trash can out to the driveway? It blows my mind. Okay, last time we did the interviews. Okay. Let me play this part so I can get to chat here. Oh, does this not have audio on this part? So remember, Sebastian woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning, sorry.
Mom comes out. It could have even been 6:30. It was sometime in that window.
Mom woke up at about 6 a.m. We've heard 6 or 6:30.
Mom comes out. She sees neighbors. There's multiple neighbors outside at that point, and she starts saying, I can't find Sebastian anywhere. I can't find him anywhere.
But in between that, remember, she said that after she got up, she searched for him for less than a minute. The other video, she says 3 minutes. And then she's on the phone doing a 3-way with Chris. Yet,
now, I don't think she's much said that part of the story, that she actually came outside of her home.
Be interesting to know if she actually had a phone in her hand. I know I mentioned this
Do we
last
have
time.
an estimated time of start for the search process?
Call came in at 6:33 this morning.
Great, thank you.
And again, the call came in at 6:33 a.m. and that leaves a 30-minute window where it's interesting to know what.
I ran through the whole house. I looked out all the doors and windows.
Do we have an estimated time of start for the search process?
Call came in at 6:33 this morning.
Great, thank you.
So yeah, 30 minutes unaccounted for. And I thought this was interesting. So remember, the lady was watching her Ring camera, and she noticed that when she left, it was right after she came out, was screaming for Sebastian. She came back in. She leaves shortly after that. She says she's gone anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes, not long at all. And Hong, the guy that with Nick the Hat, he actually posted that apparently they have footage from the school area, which I hope is true. I'm pretty sure it's probably true because so far they backed up everything they, as far as like stuff that they have. And he says that according to Hong, and I think I have the message here. According to him, tell us about how Katie pulled into the school parking lot and drove out there quicker than a high schooler playing hooky. Now he's really been on Twitter recently, putting out a lot of stuff. And then he says, "Oh, Steve Flasher didn't get that surveillance yet, huh?" So that's interesting if true. Again, I'll have to say it's a legend until we actually see the proof. But I mean, again, what's the point of even driving to the school if you're not even going to spend some time to look for Sebastian, right? Again, that whole drive, and it's a 3-minute drive, and she's only gone 5 to 10 minutes. I mean, that's really weird. Just making alibi. Yep. Yeah, so somebody sent me a picture. I didn't realize, and thank you to that, that there is another door that goes to the back, that kind of comes out the back. Did I? Yeah. Oh, there it is. And shout out to Justin. Yeah. Oh, why can't I zoom in right now? What? That's weird. There we go. So this, let me pull this up. So here you have the back door, and remember I told you, I'm like, well, he didn't have any keys. How the hell, if he went out the back, which in my opinion, there's only one way he's going out, is the back. But how's he locking this? But there's also another door. So if you were to pan left, there's another room there, right here. So, and I guess there's another door. I honestly did not realize that. And it's got the same setup. It's got a deadbolt and maybe a handle with maybe a lock on it. I'm not sure. It's kind of bad quality, at least from this photo here. But then you have like the back porch that has, just kind of a section that's covered, and then has like another screen door here. Kind of like I guess would be a mud room. Would that be considered a mud room right there? I don't know. I haven't lived in many houses, so but yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that. So there's technically the two of the same doors that go to the backyard. One that's right here, and then this little kind of other room just off to the side. That there's another door here. Sunroom, yeah, there you go. Sun porch. Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Okay, thank you. I'll take a look at it. I get a lot of emails, guys. I do try to get back to a lot of people, but sometimes I can't. So, do you guys want me to go over the audio just a little bit before we head out? And I'll give you my thoughts on it. It's something I've never covered on this case. And for those that are kind of OGs for my channel, again, I've taken some schooling for video editing and stuff. I never went to college or anything, but I've edited videos since, I've owned a computer, because I've always loved editing videos. So I've always worked with programs, and so I'm very familiar with audio programs, video editors and stuff. And we know that there's that audio that kind of came out early on, and I just wanted to kind of touch on it on one of these live shows with you guys. Yeah, that's a good question, Renee. I don't know. And that's a great question too. It looks like it's just kind of like a screen door after the sunroom, but I could be wrong. Maybe it could have a lock on it as well. It didn't look like it from the postings from the Zillow. All right, I'll just give you some of my feedback on this real quick, and then we'll finish up here.
Laptop, the download that I got from that 34-second video is 44.4 seconds of audio that I'm going to play if I can share my screen properly.
Okay,
and slow it down if you need to. Reduce the background noise by 100%. That's it. So listen to this.
Ooh. Let me know how the volume is. I think this is replaying one more time.
On.
So a lot of stuff, it's quite garbled. Yeah, as people say go home, go home. So again, you guys know I'm honest with you. I'm not going to put out stuff for clicks. Like, that's not who I am. I want to get to the truth of Sebastian. So I just wanted, because people have asked me about the audio, and because, if I had the original, if I could get the original, wherever this came from, I could tell you, some stuff about, has it been manufactured in any way? But there are a few red flags, but I'm going to argue both sides here. So let me just play this clip of what she says after.
And I want you to tell me, because somebody sent me the audio that goes with the flashlight video that nobody has posted yet.
Now, this is where I have an issue, because this video, they couldn't figure out how to pull it off onto like a video player, right? This video here, the Mysterious Lights video. So only people could record it, and it didn't have any sound. So I can tell you almost 99.9% this audio did not come from this camera. Now, it doesn't mean it couldn't come from other cameras. There is a camera, matter of fact. There's this home here that has this camera here, and notably this one right here. And the lights, obviously, they're coming this direction. And we know that the car turns and parks about right here. So it's, and these kind of cameras, from what I can tell, they're far away, but it's good possibility these cameras would have audio. So it's certainly possible it could have been a misunderstanding, and she just thought it came from the lights video because that's the only video that had been released. But I could tell you that about 99.9%, it did not come from this, because they couldn't figure out even how to get it onto a player. So I know they weren't playing audio. But with that said, it's still possible it could have came from one of these or another one. So it's certainly possible. I would love to, if anybody knows, or if Justin's watching, if anybody would like to send me like the original actual audio so I could look at it. So just one example I want to give you guys, because again, I'm just playing devil's advocate, is when Brian Kohlberg case came out, you had Joseph Morris who faked an audio, I think he did two almost, where he claimed, he had audio and he just took it from some random, I don't know, movie or TV show. And that's happened multiple times. So it's happened in a couple of cases since I started doing true crime, especially in the more high profile, where people try to get clicks and views. Not saying that's what this lady did. I'm pretty sure she probably thought it was legit, because she only has it as members only. So it's not like she's, trying to promote it everywhere. So again, there's arguments to both sides, but I just want to give you my thoughts on it. And again, I know I can't hear. I know you really can't. And I wish I had the original. Yeah, if anybody can send it to me, I would be more than happy to try to work on it. Again, for those that are OGs, know that I do have experience with working with audio. And what I can also do is I can show you guys examples from other cases where there's audio from surveillance, and kind of show you because that is definitely coming from a security camera. That isn't pulled. The one thing I would say is that is definitely most likely a security camera, because they have a unique sound to them, very, I don't know what's the right word, but they just have a certain palate to them, to the ears. Whereas if like in the Brian Kohlberger case, that Joseph Morris guy pulled a clip from a movie, and you could tell it's completely different. It was a girl screaming, it was really, very inappropriate. But you could tell the audio quality was not, it didn't come from a camera. I think people know, and I'm pretty sure probably people, especially if they have cameras and listen to, it has a certain kind of sound to it. So again, right now I would say I'm 50-50 on it. But I can't say pretty sure it did not come from this, because they could not figure out how to pull it onto a player. That makes sense. So so with that, I am gonna try to reach out to Jennifer Coffindaffer to maybe have her on the show, maybe next week or something. I've reached out. I have to wait to hear back from her. But there's some things that I would love to ask her that, again, I don't think anybody's really talked about. And if there's anybody that could give some great insight, would be her. And I promise you, if I could get her on, and I'm pretty sure if she has time, I'm sure she would. But I promise you, if we could get her on, I bet you she could maybe give us a little insight on this right here. Right? This 3D scanner. And why that would be why they would be using that. If this was just a simple runaway. And then, sorry, my voice. And then in about a month, we'll do a fundraiser for Aiden Clune, because early spring, we're going to try to get out there and get some cadaver dogs so we can bring him home. Because I'm pretty sure, like I said, we did half the work by finding his shoes. I think now we just need to get the cadaver dogs. This is for another case, but yeah, in probably about a month, we'll kind of talk a little bit more about that as, it gets a little bit closer to spring. Oops. Lisa says, I've never once heard you say any of that info about Proudfoots. Oh, yeah. Like I said, I've always talked about abduction. I've never, I've hardly ever talked about murder. Because I've always tried to, keep good thoughts. I've always mentioned abduction, and here's him mentioning murder. It's disgusting. Instead of picking on you, maybe they need to focus on what psychiatrists or investigators think about them. You're always beyond kind. Thank you so much, Lisa. Late here, but SF has scrubbed wait, what? No. Wait, what? Is that true? Are you trolling me? Wait, did I close my... Wait, no way. Hold on, I gotta see this. There's no way. No, he didn't scrub his account. But look at this. Look at this. Seriously. There's me. There's me. Oh, there's me again. Oh, there's me again. Seriously, this is supposed to be an a PI who's supposed to be behind the scenes, and like I said at the beginning of the show, I don't even do as much tweeting as this guy does, and again, that just shows you why. Think about it. Why? Why are they fighting this hard to put out this stuff? And let's see, where is it where he mentions the murder thing? So yeah, again, like I said, yep, I was wrong on the Uber. I mean, I was just a little bit off. But yeah, he's right with the camera. And like I said, like a big boy, I'm wrong. Other than that, unless he scrubbed that one. I know I saw it because I was pissed off. Anyway, it's just distractions. I try not to do, but anyway, I digress. Chris, we appreciate all your hard work. We believe in you. Thank you so much, Susan. Courtney D, thank you so much for the $9.99. And Jay's, you're doing a great job. Keep going. Thank you so much. RD, keep rocking on, brother. You are SF nemesis and showing how shady AF he is. Yeah. And it's just why, and again, like I said, why are they working this hard to make you look in these other directions except for back here? Daisy, thank you so much for the support. Chris, you're doing great. Thank you guys so much. We are going to maybe do a show on the drones. Maybe to kind of switch it up. Maybe Wednesday or something. Maybe we'll do 2 shows. I don't know. But it would be nice to kind of switch it up a little bit so it's not just the same thing. I don't know about cracking the case, but if there's just one thing that I've sent some stuff to the TBI and FBI a couple times. I would say one time that I talked to them was actually, I would say, pretty good. The other one was kind of, so-so. But yeah, one time which was the first time I spoke to him, which was, I think, a couple months ago, where I sent in a couple of tips. And yeah, it was actually pretty, the FBI person, or was it TBI? I can't remember, one of them. They were really nice. And yeah, I thought it went well. So yeah, but yeah, it'd be nice, to get Coffin Dapper on here and get her thoughts on some of this stuff. Remember, this is an active, Amber Alert, is still active in his case. And just to remind, for anybody who doesn't know what an Amber Alert is made for. Oh, did I not take the screenshot? Oh, I didn't. So let me just remind you guys, remind Steve Fisher and his crew, what an Amber Alert is. It's a public bulletin that informs the community when a child has been abducted or is missing, but usually it's abduction related, and he still has an active Amber Alert out. Not to mention the Memphis FBI, in their statement. But anyway, I digress. Again, one more time. As a man, I was wrong with the time frame of the car, although I never said a specific exact time. But yeah, I was wrong with the skylight, which, again, my bad. But that now tells us that this camera, if he walked up killing... Oh, one more thing. Usually when people go... Usually one of the statistics, along with, them ending up or going towards bodies of water, is people will take the path of least resistance. So if you look at like a map of... if you look at the terrain... Oh, shoot, this is super zoomed in. But if you actually look at the terrain, you're going uphill when it comes to... So, as you can see, it's a hill. So, if anything, if there's only a direction that Sebastian would go, he would likely go this way, which would be the path of least resistance, right? Not to say you couldn't go up, but again, how far is he really going to get with no shoes? Yeah, that area beach bum. What is it? HOA. So they don't have street lights, and it's. I don't know if it's just that community, but even maybe surrounding communities. So there's not a lot of light pollution, from what I understand. But yeah. Anyway. Iowa Girl says, all my cameras on my house have very good night vision. Yeah, they've gotten really good. That's such a great statement, Lori. The truth doesn't require that hard of a fight. When someone fights that hard, something's up. Yeah, it's just like the truth doesn't mind being questioned. You're close to the truth, that's why. I don't know. I mean, I just might be annoying them that they want to fool people into not looking at that video, because there's clearly something in that video that they don't want people to know. And again, don't you think Craddock would have came out? This is my last point, and we'll close it out. Don't you think Craddock, if it was as simple as a guy with pulling out his garbage can with a flashlight, don't you think he would have been? Because I'm sure they still get calls and stuff, you know. I'm sure when I started working on this case again and I put out, you know, working on the lights video and showing a different perspective than I don't think anybody had before, at least with the overlays, I'm sure they got a bunch of calls because of me. Not that I was telling people to call, obviously, but I'm sure they probably got, you know, a little, and I hate that may happen if it's pulling them away from other cases. Of course, I don't want that, you know, but you know what I'm saying? Like, of course, they would put something out if it was something so simple and, you know, made up as that. Yeah, of course. The truth. Actually, I have to give credit to Silvers on the scene. He has a quote that was really good. He had something with the truth doesn't mind being questioned, yet something with the lies. Oh, I wish I could remember the quote. It was really good. But yeah, that goes credit to Silvers. So. Leslie and Billy, Chris, is this the part of the reenactment? I thought the timestamp was off on all videos. No, just the main video. Just the main lights video. Oh, I put my video away, that's why. I was going to pull it up to show you, but yeah, just the lights videos, the where the timestamps for some reason, and that's so weird. Like, why is it frozen? And then on Tuesday it starts working again. It's so weird. And then of course with Katie's background, you know, and security, it's so weird. All right, guys. Huge shout out to my wonderful mods: Jocelyn, D, Copper Horse, Sensei, Jennifer. Thank you guys so much for everything you do, especially with these big shows. Of course, thank you to all my members, Patreons. I just put some stuff out for you guys. I'm also doing stuff with the drones that I'm going to put out separately for Patreons and members as well. With that, I think we'll be back live Wednesday, unless something happens. So with that, I love you guys. And we'll see you guys Wednesday, if not sooner.